you can't know everything through that screen. You can only know that when you have real conversations like these that we're having.
Hi guys, it's Maya here and welcome to Vartalap, a podcast where we talk about art, artists, creativity and anything else that I want to talk about. Today on the show we have Malika. Malika is a YouTuber, a content creator and all in all a very entertaining person. Hi Malika.
Hi Maya, thank you for the lovely introduction and thank you for having me on your podcast.
The pleasure's all mine. The reason why I wanted Malika on the podcast is because I've always been very curious and intrigued by how YouTubers create content and how their process starts, which is quite different from how traditional art goes. So, Malika, how does this whole process start?
So for me, it starts with an idea. It starts with me talking to myself. When I think about what I want to make, I'm deciding the edits, I'm deciding what meme I want to use, I'm deciding what story I want to tell, I'm deciding how I can link A thing to B thing and just to make it overall interesting for the viewer. And I try to have my videos with highs and lows and I decide what punchline I want to be using where. And mostly it's just when I'm talking to myself, when I'm thinking it, I want to say this. Sometimes things just don't go right. It just doesn't look great after I filmed it. And then I just trash the whole video. That's when I actually start writing because that's when I realized I couldn't think it straight. And that's when I start writing. That's when I start researching things. That's when I start looking into videos. That's when I start seeing what other artists are doing and then get inspired by that and incorporate that into my videos.
When you say highs and lows, what exactly do you mean by that?
When you're watching a video, when you're hearing someone tell a story, since we're talking about the channel Malika right now, that channel is more about jokes and comedy and, talking about why people do the things that they do. My videos also have like a social message in them, which is something I'm trying to do. I decided that it'd be good for me to be vocal about my opinions and things I believe in. So with the highs and lows in the comedy videos, I think it goes with the highs being the punchlines, the delivery, and the lows being, it's not necessarily a low, but my video ends with me telling people ki bhai, don't do this, like this is not right.
Low like a realization point, right?
Yeah, I think that videos should either be informative or entertainment / comedy. My vlog channel is a mixture of information and comedy, and that's what I'm trying to do on this channel because that channel grew so well in literally a year, and it took me like 6 years of work to build this channel up. So with these trials and errors, with these videos I made, and I realized the things that I was doing wrong, and I think that people watch your videos only so that they can derive something out of it in the sense of a value, and that value is either entertainment or it's information.
Okay. So initially when you're creating videos and stuff, there's not a lot of people watching it, right? So how do you motivate yourself? Because it'll be like you post 10 videos, 20 videos, X amount of videos and no one's watching it. You have to continue like posting or else like you're not gonna get anywhere.
Okay, when I started making videos, I did them for 3 years and I made no progress whatsoever. I literally had like 20 views and like 10 subscribers. It was just bad. And then I did the thing that everyone does, make your family members subscribe and like message people, please subscribe to my channel. I did all of that. But then that didn't get me viewers, that got me subscribers. And that was really demotivating for me. But when I started, it wasn't that I wanted, fame. It wasn't that I wanted I need money. But I started because I wanted to get my opinion out there and I genuinely enjoyed doing it. I've done a lot of different things on my channel. I've done things from singing to pranks to like to comedy to vlogs. I've done everything. And I realized some things weren't working for me. And now when I have vlogs and comedy working for me, I'm just like really excited. Because at start, it did feel like there's nobody watching me, nobody cares. But it's just, you have to motivate yourself. Nobody's gonna tell you ki you'll be famous one day. If you don't do it, if you don't help yourself, nobody else will.
Facts. So wait, this is really interesting. Like, you were making videos when half of us like were either just introduced to YouTube or
eating
like
sand.
yeah, either of the two, honestly. Matlab, how did you think कि हाँ नहीं मुझे video बनानी है?
Okay, fun story. Once I was in my school's computer lab, and there I saw an application on the PC. It was Windows Live Movie Maker. And I opened it and I started editing stock footage of like horses running in fields and stuff. And I was like, I can make this black and white and slow motion. Blows my mind, bro. Blows my mind. And then I went home. I'm like, I need to check this out. So I searched it up on my laptop, and then that's when I just started making stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I was really into doing magic tricks. I used to upload magic tricks on YouTube. So at first, okay, I didn't have a lot of friends in school when I started. I didn't have anybody to like play with. So it was just me and my laptop and my internet. And that's how I just started.
That's actually really crazy because you're really comfortable with the camera, while a lot of other people, like even like say 20-year-olds or like 30-year-olds, they're really uncomfortable in front of the camera.
I think it's a little bit because I've been doing it for a long time, but also because it just comes naturally to me. I mean, if you ask me to draw for you right now, I won't be able to do that. But you draw really well. I can't do that.
Thank you. No, yeah, it makes sense because you've been at your craft for so long.
I mean, if I try, the best thing I can draw right now is mountains and the V-shape wali board. That's literally all I can do.
I mean, that's a whole nother story. Okay, when it comes to vlogging, you're really vulnerable when you're vlogging. And like in general, you share stories that people wouldn't. And you openly like express what you have to say in front of the camera. How do you think that fits in when it comes to like real life? Because not so many people know what's going on in our life, and like we aren't so open to so many people. So how do you think it affects you?
I think, so as they say, when you talk about things, it, makes you feel lighter and stuff. It makes you feel better. So I don't think of my camera and my YouTube audience as like strangers. I think of them as like people I know and my like family and stuff. And I'm not even thinking about what they're going to say. I'm just saying it because I want to. Like, you can't stop me. मैं बोलूँगी. I started my vlogs showing people that I have a happy life and all. But you don't always have a happy life. And I realized that it was time for me to stop pretending that it's always like roses everywhere. And I realized that people are going to relate to you more if they see that vulnerable part in you. And that's what I wanted to do with my vlogs. That's why I've cried in so many of my vlogs. That's why I've talked about things that are affecting me.
Yeah.
It has given an incentive to people to look at me not just as a person on their screen, but as a person that they know in real life, and an actually human who's talking about her experiences and what she's been through.
Asha, do your friends get annoyed of like you always pulling out the camera? Because a lot of people are camera conscious and they're like, "Arey yaar, fir se shuru ho gayi."
Okay. The friends that I have right now, they're comfortable with the camera being around, but obviously I don't have it around 24/7. If we're like having real talks, I won't be like, "Hey guys, welcome back to I won't do that. Because with time I've realized the moments that I need to pull out my camera and the times that I need to be having actual conversations with them and connecting to them on a real level and just not, being on your phone, taking pictures, all of that.
Sahi hai. So your creative process has of course changed quite a bit. Hai na? So what were the flaws that were there in your pehli ki creative process, except what you have already addressed, that you didn't make a script? And how has it changed with you?
So it's not necessarily that making a script will always work for me. Sometimes just talking it out to myself, making it up in my mind is going to work for me. But a script is like easy to refer when you're, making the video, actually. One thing that has changed a lot is that I've learned how to act, per se. in my videos, I'm not necessarily angry or necessarily happy all the time. As in the Angry Student Speaks video, I wasn't angry. But I had to pretend like I was angry. I mean, I did feel it inside me. I did feel like it was wrong. But what you see in the video, it wouldn't be as nice as if it were, if I was like actually raw.
Okay, this is a question that I was thinking about this quite a bit. So, you got a camera and then like you realize ki acha isme there's such a huge world when it comes to the camera. There's like so much to learn. There are all of these, there's ISO, shutter speed, there's aperture, there's so many lenses. You have to understand everything to be able to effectively use it. So how did you like get started with learning it?
I'll say this honestly, I literally started learning how to operate the camera 2 months ago. I didn't know anything 2 months ago.
Seriously?
Yep.
So, as in like after boards?
Yep. When this lockdown situation started, that's when I started taking pictures. That's when I actually started to see what my camera is doing. So, my dad got me my first DSLR on my birthday. It was, as a family photos ke liye. But then I figured out that I can record videos in this, and then I can also record slow motion videos in this. And my mind was like blown then. Slow motion for me was everything. It's so amazing. So, since I didn't have, a lot of friends and stuff, so I'd use the camera, I'd see what looks good, what doesn't look good, and I started experimenting with that. But like genuinely, I started learning about how to operate the camera like 2 months ago. And how I got about doing it is that I attended online classes, I read stuff. I'm still learning. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm still learning. I'm still getting into how to set the white balance. I've recently started working for somebody. Yeah, I work for a friend who has a company, and it's essentially an editing shooting wali company, and the pay is really low, I'll tell you that honestly. But it's not about the pay, it's about the experience is what I'm telling myself. I'm learning. And I have learned a lot since I started doing that. It's taught me a lot about, the commercial world. It's taught me about people in general. So they'll give you one video and they'll be like, do whatever you want with it. I edit it, I give it to them. They're like, I don't like this. No, do it all over again. This one time, I sent an edit in the morning. And they were like, I don't like this. Then I edited a whole video. I sent them that video, I think at 9 p.m. And then they said, the one you sent in the morning was better. So I had to scrap that up and do the morning edit again.
My God. So, because of COVID, you've started like doing videos again and all of that. But how has like your mental health situation been during this time? Like, and how has it affected like you creatively?
I've honestly been great. I don't see anything per se going wrong with me or me feeling low and stuff. Fun fact, life for me has been shitty since last December. I will tell you why if you want to know.
Okay.
December mein I had a gym injury and I couldn't work out for a long time. And I couldn't even walk. It was really bad. Then when I got well, I got chicken pox. I was isolated for 12 days. And that was in the middle of my board practicals. In the middle of my board practicals. So I had to go to school, give my practicals in like a separate room. It was really bad. Then when I recovered from chicken pox, I got my periods. That doesn't sound dramatic, but I got them. Then when my periods were gone, I felt sick.
My God.
After that, I had a breakup. Shittier. And after that, boards. So life has just been bad for me and I'm used to it now. I'm used to feeling this way. It's great.
Is it like Bura Time Chal like a continuation?
Yep. If I were vlogging right now, I would literally be saying this is Bura Time. I mean, I do feel bad, but now what's surprising to me is something good happening to me.
Like, ye kaise ho gaya?
in the last 28 days, I've had like 16,000 subscribers on my new channel. And that's a great thing that's happening to me right now. And I'm just like really shocked because when I uploaded my first video, I was expecting 200 views. I thought nobody cares. But this CBSE video, that only is about to hit like 3 lakh views.
So like you're surprised, but you're still surprised.
Okay,
by that.
Fun fact. Kitne fun fact.
Nahin.
The thing with me and my creativity is that I don't believe in myself at all. I don't believe that I'm worthy of anything. I don't believe that I'm worthy of you having this conversation with me right now. I'm not worthy of the 32,000 followers I have. I know that sounds very pessimistic and like ki aise you're trying to be this way, just like being like modest and stuff. But I genuinely don't think that I deserve all I have. I've heard a lot that you wouldn't get what you don't deserve. But for me right now, the thing is that I don't have that self-satisfaction. I don't have that feeling in me ki I have achieved something. I have done something. I have worked hard for this. I mean, I have worked hard, but I think I could be doing better. And this constant strive for me to be better than who I currently am is affecting me a lot. If you want to talk about mental space, this is something that's affecting me a lot. Have you seen that Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yeah.
So उसमें self-esteem needs होती है ना. I think that's literally what I need right now. I don't care about food, shelter, house. I need that self-satisfaction right now.
Actually, fun fact, a lot of people say that Maslow's hierarchy of needs is actually not correct, because like at any level you need like a mix of all of them.
Criticism to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs is that for an artist, for a creative person, the needs can vary, because top पे क्या होता था एकदम self-actualization.
Yeah.
Self-actualization. Those needs are necessary for people like monks and people who do spiritual things. I mean, they don't care about I have food, shelter, housing. They want to be in touch with their inner self, to be in touch with their spirits.
Okay. So a lot of times, like people who are watching your content, they want to see something, right? They are demanding something and you want to create something else.
That's never really happened to me, because usually what my audience wants, I'll always make it. I've never really faced that, so can't say.
Oh, okay. Because usually a lot of artists struggle with this. Ki matlab,
but it's just the viewers I have, I think at this point they understand me, and the things that they want to know is that how would I study for my exams, how would I get these subscribers, how do I live the life I live, what's my daily schedule like, what diet do I follow, and that those are things that I want to share, because those are things that can make I think those can make their life better. If they genuinely want to know those things, I'm happy to tell them. But I've never had to go out of my way and make something that I don't want to, but they want to. They want me to.
But like, if ever such a scenario arises, would you do that?
I think it just depends on the situation and the scenario. Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Acha. So when it comes to like YouTubers and comedians, right? All of these people who are creating content, and like we don't, like in our society, I'm not going to say we don't, but in our society, by and large, a lot of people don't consider YouTubers and comedians like artists, right? Although like they, in my opinion, they are like big artists, honestly speaking, because the amount of like dimag that they have to use, the amount of like the amount that they have to think and like account for everything, make it funny and all of that, hai na? It's quite artistic. And like if suppose Sharma ji ka ladka, he's a YouTuber, then everybody around Sharma ji will be like, ye kya video bana raha hai? Tell him to go do something. Like, what is he making videos? Matlab, ja karke kaam karo. So, matlab, how do you feel when it comes to this whole YouTuber artist equation?
When it comes to society not considering YouTubers as artists, it's understandable. वैसे for society per se, any kind of artist is not like an actual profession. If you tell that typical auntie that this dude I know, he plays guitar for a living. She'll be like, what does he actually do? Like, how does he earn? I don't think it's just like YouTubers per se, but it's like every artist. Because I don't think you can blame them, but it's just that they were raised to have this thinking you get a job, you become an engineer, you become a doctor, and then you'll have a family, you'll be safe. It's the safe way out. You get a degree and like everything's supposed to like fall in place for you, but it doesn't fall in place for everybody like that. If you want to be an actor and you're having to be a doctor, you won't have that self-satisfaction. I think that's what I am feeling right now. I don't have that self-satisfaction. And if you're being forced to do something against your will, you'd feel lost.
That's true.
So with time, I think people are realizing that YouTube is an actual thing. Artists can also earn. When I started, my parents weren't really, what is she doing? They didn't care that much, but they were a little bit like, pad le, kya hai? But there was a time in my life that when I was great at studying, I was doing good on YouTube, and that's when they realized and that's when actually money started coming in, and they were like, okay, maybe this can be a thing. Since they haven't had the exposure to all of this, since they didn't grow up thinking that you can actually make people laugh for a living, they're not accustomed to it, they're not used to it. So it's just different for them, and things that are different for you don't easily adapt to them.
That's right. But like when we talk about YouTubers and comedians as artists in general, like even in the hierarchy of so-called artists or whatever you want to call it, we don't put them as the same level as musicians, or say like people who create like paintings, jo bhi hai, whatever you want to call it. They're not put at the same level. Does that annoy you? Like, and do you think it's changing? More importantly, do you think it's changing?
Art lies in the eye of the beholder.
Hi.
Deep enough for you. Wait. What do I have to say about that? Let me think about that.
Okay.
I've never faced that. I mean, I don't care, honestly. I'm fine with doing my own thing. तुम मुझे नहीं बोल रहा आर्टिस्ट मत बोलो, चल रहा है मेरा. I'm fine, I'm happy.
Do you consider yourself an artist?
For right now, I literally consider myself nothing, which is really bad. I really need to look into this. I am trying to. I swear I'm trying to. But I'm just like hoping that one day everything will fall in place for me. Hopefully when all of this ends. I'm just like chasing that one day where I'll just really be happy. That's the day I'll actually call myself an artist. I mean, I am doing artsy things now. Again, it just has a lot to do with my self-satisfaction and confidence.
On that same note, who would you call an artist?
Oh, anybody who does something that's extraordinary, I guess.
Extraordinary in the sense?
Different from, what society says. Society in air quotes.
Yeah. When you were talking about this whole like not believing in your art and like not believing in what you create and all of that, do you think this is in general like khali artists wala problem, like just artists face this, or is like this a generational thing, just our whole generation thinks in this way?
I don't think generation, but I think everybody has that point in their life where they're just like, what am I doing, why am I doing, and what is the point of existing? I wouldn't like an existential crisis or something, but it's just there are some days when you feel like that.
Do you think we're having like midlife crisis?
No, not really. I won't call it a crisis right now, but because it still feels like something I'm going through and something I can go through. When I'm over this, then I'll be like, there was nothing. I can give me more. I can take more. You get what I'm saying? When you cross a hurdle, you're like, when you're about to cross that hurdle, you're like, this sort of, I can't do it. But when you actually cross it, you're like, hey, korla. The reason why I have these problems with self-confidence is that when things really started taking off for me on YouTube. I got into a controversy with a YouTuber. I don't want to name and talk about it a lot.
Yeah,
but
I understand.
That got me a lot of hate, and people weren't ready to hear my side of the story, and people blamed me for things I didn't do. So that's when I thought that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be like abused and bullied so much. That's when I stopped. That's when I decided to give an end to my art because of what other people were saying to me. And the things that they said about me, I didn't think that they were true. But it led me into believing that they were true. I didn't believe them first, but I thought that since so many people are telling me that something's wrong with me, maybe something's actually wrong with me.
Yeah.
And that was around my 10th boards. After my boards, I started doing vlogs because I needed an outlet to express myself. I needed somebody to talk to. People did remember me from the controversy that happened. I still got a lot of hate, but I thought that this was like, I'm gonna get over this. I'm gonna do it. I don't care what they say. So things took off for me then, and right now I have such a nice. I'm really, really thankful. I think if I would have started posting videos on this channel and got a little bit of hate, I would have stopped. I wouldn't be doing it right now. But now that I know that people actually want to hear my thoughts, people actually support me, people actually... I've seen a lot of comments that people tell me that they're sorry that they used to hate on me and say all that mean stuff to me. Because with time, they have realized that they did the wrong thing by blaming me for things I didn't do. And they have matured as an audience, and I have matured as a creator. And I want to keep making videos for that kind of audience. For audience who's ready to criticize me,
grow,
and also appreciate me. Yeah. And grow with me.
Wow. That's actually pretty deep, when you think of it. Like, I don't think so people put in this much thought. At least I don't put this much thought when it comes to things.
I mean, superficially, when you're like looking at my videos, you're not thinking, what is she actually thinking about? What is she thinking about? Is she thinking about the things that she's been through? Is she thinking about what people are going to think about me? You can't know everything through that screen. You can only know that when you have real conversations like these that we're having.
I feel nice. I don't I don't know what this means, but like I feel nice. Like, cause like on social media you don't have real conversations, man. It's very superficial, superficial. It's all likes and ye or wo.
Okay, when I said that this self-satisfaction and confidence is a big thing for me, I'm not saying that, I don't want my viewers to stop watching me. I don't need you in my life. I'm just saying that I'm grateful for having these viewers in my life, but I also want myself to be happy with myself. I mean,
makes sense.
I'm thankful that my viewers watching me makes them happy, but me watching myself does not make me happy. Yeah.
Is it, do you think it's just a you thing, or it's just like an artist thing? I'm getting this artist angle again and again. I know it's really annoying, but like in general, I personally, and like when I talk to other artists, everyone's like, if I look at myself for too long, and if I look at my piece, if I look at my, like, hear my music or whatever, I get annoyed. Like, I don't want to look at it. Band karo, isko fek do. Dustbin mein fek do.
A lot of my videos that I don't do a lot of heavy editing on, I hate them. But when I edit them a lot, when I add in memes, when I add in like emojis, when I add in sound effects, that's when it starts looking good. And sometimes when I keep editing something, it just seems trashy to me. Like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So it can go. It can go either way.
So it's like not ki matlab all the time you're just like, I can't watch myself.
I mean, the video that I made on Malika, I love it. I might have watched it like 50 times by now. Apart from the time I've edited it. Like after uploading it, I watched it 50 times. Because I actually love it. I actually love the work I put into it. And that's one video that I'm happy with. Okay, this is something I don't understand. I am chasing this possibility of me being happy with everything I make. Right now, I'm happy with one video I make. So, is this a realistic expectation for me to be happy with everything I make?
I mean, personally, I don't think so.
Why so?
Like, how can you be happy with everything, right? Like, in general, also, you can't be happy with everything in life. How are you expecting that everything you make, you're going to be happy with that? At any point. Like, kitne bhi mahan ban jao.
So, does that mean that I'll never be happy? Deep ass conversation.
See, no. Don't say that, please. You will be happy one day. I guarantee
Believe in yourself.
You will be happy. I mean, like, jokes aside, I think we will all, like, yeah, I don't think so you ever need to be, like, happy with yourself at, like, a constant. It needs to be, like, happy, yeah, like, okay, not that happy, not that happy. It needs to be, like, a roller coaster or, like a chart that's going up and down.
But I want it to be constant and steady. I think for me, it's just like... Wait, we're doing a podcast. How do I tell them?
Like a linear graph going up. No, I don't know. I hope...
Nope. It's more of a...
Yeah, sorry. A lot of math.
It's more of a... that.
Linear graph going down, then it is.
You have maths.
See, I know a lot of non-math students, sir. Yeah, I have maths. Which is why I can speak this way. Maybe I'm probably wrong. Moving on.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I came across in your videos that I was like, that really opened my eyes and I was just like, my God, wow. Is that whenever anybody asks you how you're balancing like studies and YouTube, how you're like doing both and like, enjoying it without struggling with it as the way we were seeing it. You said, I prioritize. Ki I want to do both things and I like prioritize ki what I have to do when I have to do and all that. That's a great thing. A lot of people don't have that in mind. But how did you get that mature at such a young age?
I think me being influenced with the internet has a lot to do with it. I didn't have a lot of other 15, 17-year-olds to be watching on YouTube. So I was watching grown-ups talk about, how they're making money, how they're like hustling, how they're working hard and smart. And I got influenced a lot by that. And I've literally started learning about personal finance at the age of 17. I don't need it, but it's just I see other people doing it and I think I need a head start. People start thinking about, what they actually want to do when they're 20.
Yeah.
And I've figured that out since I was 13. I had a head start to it. This maturity that I currently have has a lot to do with the hate I've got, because that has changed me a lot. It's changed me in ways of things that are right, things I should be saying, how I want to get the right message across to people, how I can actually manipulate an audience. Manipulate not in a negative sense, but in a positive sense. Ki what I'm saying is right and you need to listen to me. Because unless and until you're not assertive enough to tell an audience that, they're not going to take you seriously. I've learned ways to do that. I've been reading about it. I've been doing researches on all of this. And that has made me mature.
I actually really like that answer.
There was this time, I think 8-9 months ago. You've heard about being burnt out, right?
Yeah, burnout.
So I would literally wake up, go to school, be cranky as shit, come back, go to the gym, still be cranky, and then I'd just fall asleep. And on top of that, I had to be making videos. I had to think about what I make, and it was really, really hard for me then. It's not that I didn't have an idea about what to make. It's just that all these things were like piling on top of me with school, projects, exams, videos, the stress. You have to also be engaged with your viewers, with your audience. It got really bad for me. And that's when I realized that if I need to get my life on track, I need to actually prioritize things. So my priorities then were sleeping, studies, YouTube, and gym. That was it. So if I wasn't doing either 4 of those things, I was wasting my time. That's it. So if I'm sitting, I'm wasting my time. If I'm sitting and editing a video, great. Whenever I'd feel the urge to check my phone to reply to people, nope, I'd go to sleep. And then that's how I got my life back on track. That's when things were really bad for me. I had like dark circles. I wouldn't talk to people. It was really bad. I'd be like screaming at my parents. It was bad.
What's an insight that you've had through this whole journey? What's this like one thing that's really stuck out?
Don't stop. Literally, that's the mistake I've made a lot. I'd stop making videos. I'd stop putting in the effort. I'd stop scripting. I'd stop, thinking it out to myself.
Yeah.
I started making videos on this channel. I honestly wasn't going to start posting again, ever. One day I just woke up in the morning and I started talking to myself. And I'm like, this hasn't happened to me in a very long time.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started writing it down. That's when I started scripting. And it's been 3 years since I made an actual scripted comedy video. It was like I was doing this all over again. How do I set up the camera? How do I set up I haven't used this mic in 3 years. So it was so different for me. When I actually sat down to edit a comedy video, it was so different. And I had to get used to it all over again. When I switched from comedy to vlogs, I realized how different it was to edit my vlogs.
Yeah.
Beach mein, while I was vlogging, for a while I had an editor and he'd edit my videos. And after he stopped doing them for me, I forgot how to edit. I had to learn it all over again. And it was really, really bad for me. And now, when I've, lost the hang of actually creating, it just sucks a lot. I don't know how else to put it. It's just bad. Okay, think of it this way. Think of it for you. You want to draw a certain thing. But when you get down to doing it on the paper, you just cannot. Your hands just like won't move. Or even if they move, it just doesn't look the way you want it. So if you really want to improve your art and get better at it, you keep doing it. You don't stop.
Thank you guys for listening. This was the 5th episode of Vartalap. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Do let me know what you thought about it. Share it with a friend, and until next time, this is your host, Maya, signing off.